This is not a test. Don't expect to be impressed. Put on your life vest. Sit down your armrest. It's time to stray from the grind. Don't take my hand 'cause you'll find no peace of mind. Side quest.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Side Quest, the every other week Authors and Dragons episode where we sit down, we don't play a game. Well, sometimes we play a game, but we're not playing a game tonight. Just forget I even said that. And we do something cool. And tonight we definitely have something cool. My name is Rick Gualtieri, and joining me tonight are M.K. Gibson, Gibby, and Robert Bevan.
Hello,
Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
God,
Hello, enemies.
you just went for that fucking joke. God fucking damn.
Just low hanging, like low balls, just old man balls right there.
Right
So
for
you
the
gotta
licking.
grab them.
Anyway, we have on tonight a two faces who should be very familiar to A&D listeners or watchers, because you've all seen Shingles the movie, right?
And read the books.
It's the dynamic duo behind movies such as the Carousel trilogy, the Meowie movies, and of course, Shingles the movie. We have Steve Rudzinski and Aline Isley. Hey,
Thank
guys.
you so much for having us on the show. It is a pleasure to be here. It's good to talk with you guys again.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Likewise. Yeah, it's been I probably should have said multi-award winning Shingles of the movie. Yeah, I really should write that shit out before I introduce things.
Yes, award-winning
But
film Shingles the movie from Fangoria Chainsaw award winner filmmaker Steve Rudzinski.
All right, start it all over again. Start the whole thing over again.
I'm not fucking memorizing
3,
that.
2, 1, go.
Send me a goddamn cue card next time. So, you guys, I mean, we'll just cut right to the chase. You guys got a new project in the works. Why don't you tell us about it?
Well, Aline, why don't you start us off, because it was your initial idea.
I'm going to unmute. I have to mute because otherwise you're going to hear Steve twice in the other room.
I'm very loud!
So this was supposed to be the year where Silver Spotlight took a break and we were not going to make a movie and we were just going to relax. And of course, I had to come along and ruin that. So we will be making a movie called Curtains for Christmas. It's a rom-com, wonderful, heartwarming film about a woman who meets her true love and really wants her Christmas movie to happen. Unfortunately, she happens to be very sadistic, and so she ends up killing and kidnapping and a bunch of other things just to force that ending for herself. And so it's going to be actually a horror comedy. Hooray!
Yay.
So I'll admit, I saw the notice for the Kickstarter before and it was maybe a day or two before I clicked on it, just because it was I saw it in passing, and my first thought was wow, these guys, because I know you guys really love Christmas, and I was like, wow, they're really just making a feel-good, Hallmark Christmas movie. And then I clicked on the link and watched the Kickstarter thing, and I was just oh, yeah, it's a Steve movie.
Don't worry, he's still with us.
Yeah, I watched the trailer for it today, and it looks like a lot of fun, actually. So
Thank you. Yeah, it's kind of like Amityville Christmas Vacation was our feel-good Hallmark Christmas movie, except in the Amityville franchise, to literally just lampoon what that series has become and make sure that the first Christmas movie in Amityville isn't some schlock horror film and it's actually a Christmas movie. So when Aline came up with this idea, I was like, oh, this is basically us lampooning ourselves. So it's once again her and I as the love interest, except now it is a horror movie, except it's our original take on it.
Yeah, I got to say, I really love the scene where it just cuts between you guys standing there real nice as a couple and you screaming help. that makes the trailer.
I came up with that idea months ago, and I had to, I got out of my shower and immediately had to send a voice message to Aline to make sure that I didn't forget that idea. Because it was so vivid in my head. I was just like, oh, this would be perfect. And it's it's cutting between it all. And I'm glad it turned out that well. I'm glad you liked it.
Well, no, it was a really fun looking trailer. I was really into it, and like it definitely has all the trappings of your standard work. But it also just there was a magic to it, a Christmas magic, if you will. And I was before the podcast came on, like that thumbnail that's being used. It feels like an homage, just like to an Eternal Sunshine type of moment where you have the two characters head to head looking at each other, and it has beautiful tones to it. And then when the gore starts in, it really takes that message and punches it in the asshole. And I think that might be what you're going for because it works for me.
Yeah, I mean, when we were writing it and how I plan to shoot it is definitely a case of I want the Christmas rom-com stuff to be legitimate Christmas rom-com. You know, we already shot a couple of scenes because we had to film at a mall while they had all the Christmas stuff up. We filmed when it actually snowed. I was crossing my fingers writing the script in like December, being like, man, I hope we actually get some winter this year. But so we're shooting that very legitimately, and then it's still, you know, it's like you were saying, Rick, it's a Steve movie, so it's still going to be a live action cartoon. The violence is still going to be over the top and ridiculous. There's going to be a lot of violence. This movie has the highest effects budget of any movie that I've made.
Impressive.
Nice.
Assuming the Kickstarter succeeds and we get to make it, obviously. But, you know, like, as you guys said, I love Christmas. It is my favorite time of year. It is my favorite holiday. It is my favorite genre of film, Christmas movies. So I want to, as I did with Amityville in 2 days and $300, so many people said the reason why that movie worked is because you could tell that the guy making it liked Christmas. You could tell that he was making a Christmas movie. And so I want to do that with this to parody all those Christmas rom-coms that I do love, alongside all the just over-the-top insanity, Holly's sadistic nature of just trying to make things go well. And there's also going to be a fake movie in the movie, which is Holly's favorite Christmas film, A Cheesy Christmas, which would be a talking animal movie, to reference the other part of my career. And that one, I literally wrote in the script that it is color corrected far too warm. Like, it shouldn't look the way that it looks, but that's how so many of those movies are color corrected. So, like, I have to do that in the universe.
I love fake movies within movies. That's some of my favorite things.
We're gonna get to see 3 scenes from it, and then like the DVD box off, just snap a picture of those 2 actors. If I was a millionaire, the love interest in the fake movie would be Brandon Routh or Henry Cavill, so that we can get a better Superman to replace Dean Cain in talking animal Christmas movies, at least in my fictional universe.
Yeah, I mean, I know starting with with Carousel 2, you started to mix in like the wholesome with the horrific. And this kind of feels like taking it to the next level,
Mhm.
like really mixing in that wholesome, because the wholesome scenes are really cute in in that, and the horrific scenes you get like it's like buckets of suddenly it's buckets of blood, and yeah, I for one can appreciate that mix.
Well, for me, I like that mix. You know, like, obviously I like straight horror films, but I also like gay horror films as well. But I mean, having multiple emotions and multiple themes and multiple feelings, to me, works a lot better for a film instead of it just being one gear the entire time. I mean, I even toyed with that with, you know, the Shingles movie. Like, it was yours guys' script and yours guys' books, but like when we were shooting it, it would be stuff like, okay, well, let's actually make this shot like more eerie and more suspenseful, and then let's actually make this moment like heartwarming. Like let's really focus on like the warmth of like this character connection, and now let's rip out an eyeball.
And I mean, I felt the warmth. I mean, watching that scene of Dusty jerking off onto to Bob's picture.
It was romantic.
I felt the warmth as well.
All over your face. But I think my take on it is that I want to make every part of it to the max. And I don't mean like completely overdoing it or like everything has to be perfect, but I mean like when we go to the gore, I want it to be extremely gory. I want it to be extremely bloody. I want people to have fun with the gore, and then when we cut back to the wholesomeness, it is genuine. Like, it's not just tongue-in-cheek winking at the camera, making fun of it. Like, no, I want that to be actually wholesome and meaningful. And it doesn't work for everyone. You know, there's plenty of Letterboxd reviews that hate literally any of the story of Carousel 2 and 3 because they only want to watch blood. okay. But for the people that it does work for, the people that actually do connect with the story and the characters, I think that's what makes the fans so enthusiastic about what I do. And so I try to keep doing that on every new film. And that's one of the things that makes me excited about Curtains for Christmas is that support the Kickstarter today. Is that it's a new IP, but it's also meant to be one and done. Like, this is not meant to be a carousel. You know, we pictured a series with carousel. This is very much like this is a beginning and an end in one film. So let's kind of go all out and deliver a really memorable experience for the fans that do want this movie and discover it. What's up, MK?
Now, it was meant to be. Oh, just Gibby's fine, please, dude. It's meant to be a one and done. Until it was also supposed to be a year off too. So I'm just saying, there's always going to be a chance someone's going to come along and say, you know, I have an idea for a sequel, and as long as it's a good pitch, would you be willing to do it?
I mean, I'm a whore. I'm willing to do anything for money.
Fair enough.
But I'm just trying to be upfront with the fans too. You know, like Aline and I, we knew what part 2 of Carousel was going to be, and we had an idea for 3. Curtains is very much like this is where the story ends. There isn't like a post-credit scene that explicitly sets up part 2 on purpose. You know, that is not part of the plan. That's not in our head.
Some of my favorite sequels, when they are not ones that are set up to be a sequel. It is like, it picks up as a gap, like from Star Wars to Empire. It's like there's a gap and then a new story picks up, and those are the best kind of sequels for me. I don't want something like immediately leading into the next one. I want another chapter.
Also point out, those can be the worst type of sequels also.
Which ones? What do you mean?
Oh, I mean, it's not the worst movie in the world, but as far as going from great to letdown, for example, like Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, that's my go-to of like, don't do it. Yeah, that's
I really like Ghostbusters 2.
Well, it's a fun
movie. I will
movie.
pick any movie I don't like, and Steve loves it, I guarantee.
Here's the thing. I liked it as a kid when I watched it as a kid because it has a childlike heart to it. Whereas the first one is more of a standalone. Like I've always argued that it has comedic effects, but it's more of a sci-fi horror movie with some jokes. The second one is more of a comedy that brushes up against the sci-fi. So
I'd say that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like the villains more, and the story is more focused because the first one is so focused on building the business that I can appreciate that the sequel is much more about the slime and Vigo and Janosch, and I that's what works for me.
I think what doesn't work for me, and the second movie feels like a third in a series, meaning they're downtrodden. I would rather have had we are 3 years into our successful business and then they lose it all.
Oh, I agree with that. That is a criticism I've had with the Ghostbusters films as a whole. Like, I don't know why every single Ghostbusters film has to be like, oh, as soon as they beat the big bad, all the ghosts disappeared and they're just worthless. Like, no, I prefer the cartoon. I prefer the comic books.
Yes,
they're exterminators.
The cartoon was fucking brilliant.
Because so many of those good episodes are written by Rudzinski, who just knows his shit. And like we talked about this when I think it was Bob, Steve, and I. We did the thing for the Ghostbusters trailer. We did a side quest just on movies and things like that. And this new trailer, I'll see it. Sure, am I excited for it? Not especially, but I love one so much that I've watched everything that came afterwards with varying levels of happiness.
I'm interested in Frozen Empire simply because in the movie universe, this will be the first time the threat isn't because of Shandor.
Right.
Because Shandor built the building in 1. We revealed in the game that Shandor built the slime factories. That was the problem in 2. Shandor's backup plan B was the villain of the game, which I think is still canon thanks to a few lines in Afterlife. Right. And then, of course, Afterlife was Shandor's final Gozer plan. So they're like, finally! This is not Shandor.
Bring me into the urban fantasy that was the animated series. There are other creatures, there's the monsters, there's other machinations out there. That's what I'm looking forward to. Like you said, the most for this Frozen Empire type thing. Yes, it doesn't always need to be about the same Shandor guy.
Yeah.
So,
all right, let's circle it back. I was going to mention before.
Sorry.
This is what we do. We talk.
Yeah.
Stop fucking apologizing.
It's who I am. It's a lot of Catholic guilt left over. So.
Well, I ain't your priest, and we're not in some back room with me telling you, don't tell your parents about this.
I rub my head and just say, "Shush, Sally." So,
but no, what I was gonna say, like even when you do get those like negative reviews regarding somebody saying, "Well, I don't like the disparity," and say a Carousel 2, there's still value to that because love it or hate it, it's always good when people are talking about it.
Mhm.
At least that's always been my theory.
So long as they aren't toxic. It's the only time it gets to me when some people are making like 2-hour-long podcasts just dumping on me as a person. And at the end of the day, if people don't like what I'm doing, that's fine. Like, I'll never say that they're wrong. I'll never say that like they're idiots or something. It is just one of those cases where it's just like if you didn't like Carousel 3, no debate, no argument. If you're saying that the only good part of Carousel 3 was the first 10 minutes and you didn't care about the story and it got boring, then the franchise was never meant for you. Like, this wasn't like for you if that's what you wanted. There are an infinite amount of schlock horror movies that are just blood and tits for 90 minutes. Aline and I never wanted that to be Carousel. We wanted to tell a real story with real lore and actual stakes and emotions. And that's what we want to stick with. I mean, I think Curtains is sillier than Carousel 2 and 3. Do you think that's fair to state, Aline?
Believe it or not, I think some of the situations in Curtains are more unbelievable and unrealistic than a talking unicorn chasing people down. We have created, I can't spoil it, sorry, but I mean, we've created one of my absolute favorite murder gags I think we've ever put in a movie ever for this movie. It's so important that it gets made because I have to see this come to life on the stage and on the page.
I did share it in the Andy
Wow.
Discord. That's what she's referencing,
Yes.
Rick.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Secrets, though. You can't tell everybody.
I mean, we don't have that big of an audience, unfortunately. I wish we did.
Not yet.
So who do you have on the production team? Helping you guys out.
Well, I mean, this one is a bit smaller. The budget's a bit bigger than Carousel 2 and 3, but since we have more characters and more locations, I'm doing a lot more hands-on than I have on like other films. So I'll probably be shooting most of it, but there's a couple guys I'm talking to that may come on for that. Mike Treblecock is back to do the score, of course, because he is phenomenal. He is amazing. He did the music for the teaser trailer already. Aline is playing Holly, the lead. I'm playing Jay, her love interest, simply because of it makes sense, because we're going to be part of the project the whole time. And also, again, it's like a nice subversion of Amityville Christmas Vacation, where in that movie we fell in love. In this movie, we do not. Spoilers. She does. I do not. Cody Rook is back for effects. I've already talked to Cody at length on the kills and gave him the list of everything we're doing. Unlike a couple of the movies that I've done where I'm kind of like, Cody, come up with what you want. This time we came up with very specifically what we wanted for each kill, because I really wanted to do a bunch of different stuff that we haven't done before. A couple things that I know will be more simple, and also keep the Christmas theme for as many kills as possible. So there's a couple just knife gags, don't get me wrong, but there's also, like, say, an icicle, and candy canes, and that sort of thing.
I have to say, I watch a decent amount of Tubi and and Amazon Prime and stuff. I've always been a fan of of indie horror, indie sci-fi. But one thing that does kind of bug me, and I know we've mentioned this on ATMs before, which is when when there's an obvious kill pun and they just let it pass.
Yeah.
And yeah, I trust you not to do that.
I will say, Holly is not quite as punny as Duke is, but we're going to let things, how do I put it? Let things breathe. We're definitely not just going to do something and skip over without any acknowledgement of how insane it is.
Awesome.
Yeah, she's definitely not as quippy. She's a little more.
She's more broken as
she's
a person.
In love. She's justified, but she's also, she's a broken person, so she can't come up with the quick one-liners.
Yeah.
But we will address everything that happens with someone or other in the movie.
Yeah, it's hard to ask questions without asking spoilers, but let me ask this, and if it is a spoiler and you can't say it, just be like, does she come in this? Is she pretty much already a serial killer, or is this something that just kind of drives her over the edge?
This was not something Aline and I actually disagreed on at first. Aline was saying that she shouldn't have started killing until after the movie started. I argued against that, and I won, but for business reasons, not because she was necessarily wrong. To me, Holly has killed before. She has been killing because I wanted the movie to start with a kill immediately. Because I'll spoil the opening of the film. The very opening is that very tropey Christmas rom-com where the main lead lady has a shitty boyfriend that doesn't care about Christmas. Oh, he's going on vacation with the guys on Christmas Eve. He's not taking her to meet his parents. So she snaps and fucking murders him after this like very tropey setup. And I to me it was really important to like have that super tropey Christmas rom-com setup, like, oh, it's this prick doing this, and then she brutally stabs him dozens of times in the chest with her cheese knife. And ruins her curtains, so she needs to go buy new curtains for Christmas.
In your head canon, is that the first kill, or is that just number 32?
She's done this. Yeah, this is not her first boyfriend she's had to kill.
And I say that, and I think this is in a good way, not to back the man in the situation, but it's one of those. Otherwise, your character, if it's their first kill, there's going to be spend an inordinate, at least in books anyway, an inordinate amount of time you've got to like deal with the psychological ramifications of being the first kill. You know, can I do it again? Should I do it again? Blah, 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 blah. As opposed to something go back like serial mom. Like, no, this is just something that is just part of the dark echo that sits in the back of the head the entire time and is ready to come out as necessary.
Yeah.
Or you could always just Big Trouble in Little China. It's like, first time you kill somebody? Of course not.
I mean, she does have her own voice of consciousness, her own conscience, if you will, that she discusses some of these ideas with throughout the film.
That's good. Yeah,
so
cool.
She's been working it out. You can tell before the movie begins. I'd like to think this is like a string of specifically every guy that hasn't worked out to be at the Hallmark Christmas romance level for her. So as soon as they disappoint her, they're done. She's got to start over.
I do think this is her biggest massacre. I'll say that. Before this, I think I agree with Helene. Up to this point, she's just been killing like boyfriends that were bad and like weren't good for the season and weren't good for her. But this is the first time when she is killing a lot of other people. Her conscience is fantastic because it was a small idea that Elaine had, that she was just like, oh, wouldn't it be fun if like this showed up? And then I said, okay. And then I started writing the script and I like texted her because I think she was working on a show at the time. And I started just writing. I was just like, this has now become one of the leading characters of the whole film.
Like I gotta say, I've it's not my favorite genre, but I've seen enough Hallmark Christmas movies where in my head I have like rewritten them to be like, this is about the time that this person deserves to like die or so. So this is why I'm excited for this, because it does kind of feel like one of those ideas that I can see play out in my mind when I'm like, well, sitting there watching these going, why isn't this movie fucking over yet?
So, we're excited.
If someone just got an axe, this movie would get a shitload better, so yeah.
That is the intent. I mean, this is one of our favorite things that we've written because it is a combination of a lot of stuff that we love. It is basically Amityville Christmas Vacation plus Care as Hell. It is two of the things that we are peak at. And a little dash of Meowie Christmas with the cheesy Christmas fake movie in it. So like it's almost a greatest hits in terms of what we've already done, but it's an original take. It's an original concept for us. I mean, I don't mean we came up with Christmas rom-coms or horror comedies that take place at Christmas time, but it's nice and it's refreshing, to do something original again after years of like sequels and adaptations that I've kind of been doing. So that part of it excites me a lot. And this is, Mike Trummelcock said this, and he outright said, this isn't an insult, Steve. I mean this in a good way. But he read the script and he said that he loved it. But he also said that it's probably my most mainstream accessible script. Like, this is going to be the movie that the most new people would probably watch and enjoy. Whereas you got to have a special kind of like weird to be into the Carousel trilogy. You do need to have a special sense of humor for Shingles the movie.
And the books.
Yeah, of course. I didn't make those though.
Right, so this is the movie that propels Steve and Aline to like new heights, to the point where we call them and be like, hey, you want to be on the podcast? They're like, who the fuck are you? Click.
Lose my fucking number. Click.
I don't think that, but I do think we will get more purchases. That's all. But it'll be nice to have something like new and fresh that anyone could find it and immediately be signed on for. And yeah, it is one of those things where if you like Christmas movies or like seeing Christmas movies parodied and you like horror comedies, this is going to be perfect. I think that we did a fantastic job blending like those two flavors into this. I really like what we did. If we get to make it, it will make no news because Terrifier 3 is also a Christmas movie coming out this year, so I'm fucked. But I think it's going to be a slow burn for people to find it after the fact, if that's the case.
Well, I mean, people who like Christmas movies, I think I mean, I know my wife will put on Polar Express anytime during the year.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean,
Of all the movies, that one. Ugh. Uncanny Valley.
I have never seen the Polar Express.
Oh man, I have rewritten
a Christmas
that.
horror
That's a
movie.
movie I've rewritten in my head.
It'll be our movie will be sandwiched on all the servers when you're searching between like oranges for Christmas, shoelaces for Christmas, a dog for Christmas, and then curtains. You know, it follows
I cannot
the
wait for the
format.
people that watch it by accident. Like, I'm going to have
See,
the
that's-
blood spatter and the dismembered hand in our thumbnail, and I know people are still going to miss that.
Yeah, I was gonna say you might want to like what was it, the original Deadpool, how they were originally like trying to like push this as like a romantic comedy, to get people in.
For Valentine's Day, yeah.
Yeah, it was a February, like it was a Valentine's Day release. Yeah.
It's out there for on Kickstarter.
Yeah, if you folks want to.
So what are the goals of the Kickstarter?
I mean, the goal of the Kickstarter is $14,000. That is the bare minimum that we need in order to make the film as envisioned with what we have budgeted for the effects, for the amount of actors, for the locations.
And how long is the Kickstarter going through?
It is going, I mean, right now, this isn't live, right? When is this episode going up?
Probably next week.
Okay, so there are 2 weeks left, guys. It ends either on the 29th or on March 1st. I forget which because it's the leap year, so I'm all screwed up.
There's 28 days, 29 days in February this year.
Yeah. But I just forget exactly like when I launched it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's either the 20. So let's just say February 29th is the last day, so no one dilly-dallies on it. We have, we got a lot of great perks. We sold out of the die in the movie within 5 seconds, like always. I should have written more roles into the film to kill people. We would have already met goal. Silly me. But, you can just get a digital copy, DVD, Blu-ray, special thanks. We have an exclusive Christmas card. That'll be a photo of Jay and Holly that we will sign and hand number. We're going to do a fun, not a huge deal, not like the slipcover for the Carousel trilogy, but we're going to do a unique Kickstarter exclusive Blu-ray case, which will be horizontal so that you can, display it as if it's a Christmas card with Jay and Holly on it. And, of course, like the big executive producer credit if you want to swing your dick around and claim that you are a big shot producer and made this movie exist.
All right, I got a stretch goal idea for you. That's that postcard you were talking about, Jay and Holly.
Mm-hmm.
But make it kind of like one of those holograms where you turn it and it becomes a different image.
Lenticular. That would be cool.
That would be amazing.
We do have a first time perk. We are actually also including. I'm giving away. I'm not giving away. I'm perk rewarding one of my screen warm costumes from the movie, which I usually keep all my wardrobes because I love them very much and I like to just have them all lined up in my closet. So one of my sweater dresses that's very festive and will be blood soaked by the end of the movie will be up for grabs. I believe it is. There's only one of them, so whoever grabs it up, it will get it, and that's pretty cool for something different.
So if it's not gauche to ask, what percentage are you at now on the Kickstarter?
Right now we are at 44%. So we're not at halfway yet. We're trucking, but we definitely hit the wall. That's the problem with Kickstarter. Okay. I'm not going to be optimistic yet. I'm not saying to people, I'm not casting, I'm not setting a schedule yet because this could be it for all I know. You make most of your money on like the first day and the last day, and we're in the middle. So I'm trying to push it. I'm trying to get people to pre-order Blu-rays to kind of take it up little by little. We have a long way to go. That's the only problem. Because again, if we are short, movie doesn't get made. This is not Indiegogo. This is not, if we get $8,000, we'll put something together. Like, no, this is all or nothing.
All or nothing.
Do not feel comfortable making curtains for Christmas for less than the money we will get from this $14,000 Kickstarter after Kickstarter takes their fees.
So obviously you did some filming for the trailer, which again we saw, and I encourage all the viewers and listeners to go and see it and just judge for yourself because it's fucking cool. What percentage of the film would you say you've already shot just to get the trailer? Is it just like a couple of days worth?
Oh,
Are you talking
yeah, like a couple
10%?
Yeah,
Okay.
a couple days worth. It's the sequence where Holly meets Jay for the first time in the store when she's shopping for curtains. That's probably the biggest chunk that we shot. And then we shot another sequence where it's after Holly meets with Jay, the next day for peppermint hot cocoa, a Holly's hot chocolate, which she's never had, and Jay can't believe that. Where you find out more about Jay's backstory, and like it keeps lining up with the love interest from A Cheesy Christmas. So it is just like Holly's perfect man. So it's like one of my monologues. We shot that in the mall with like this great Christmas backdrop. That's in the trailer. You can see the Santas behind Holly and Jay. That's what we shot. And then just the sequence where we're out in the snow making snow angels that we also wanted to get. And that's only like a minute long, but like
Right.
That's what we got so far. It isn't much. It's maybe 5 full minutes of the movie. And the movie should be about, it's hard to tell. My script lengths never make sense compared to my movie lengths. But the script is about as long as Carousel 2, and Carousel 2 was 77 minutes long. So this could be anywhere from 70 to 80 minutes, and we shot 5 so far.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say for those of you listening to this podcast at home, pause this shit and go support this. You can always come back to listen to the rest of us. You've heard enough. You should be sold on this.
Please, I'd appreciate it. We'd appreciate it. Elaine, would you like to say anything about how you're going to play Holly? Because you are going to be carrying this movie on your shoulders, basically, in terms of performance. Like, the whole movie follows Holly the whole time. At no point do we cut away from Holly unless it's for, like, a second.
Yeah, sure. First of all, it's really nice to, return to some on-screen work over the years as we've continued making movies. I've fallen more into a behind-the-scenes tech organizing, line producing job. So I'm really grateful to be bringing Holly to life. I think she kind of has 2 feels, 2 vibes. The first is anytime she's talking to Jay, she kind of slides very easily into her, I'm the lead in a Christmas movie, so everything has to be cheery all the time, and I'm going to be overly sweet. And then when she's all by herself, some of that act sort of fades away, and you see more of the real Holly. And then as the desperation grows and things aren't going her way, she'll become more and more unhinged, which is really great. You really get to run the gambit of, sweet and romantic all the way through terrifying, hopefully. If you liked Carousel 2, and how evil Ilsa could be torturing a tiny unicorn, this is not exactly that flavor, but you know that I can do dark. So we're going to go there. It's going to be real fun. And no accents either, which is great.
Oh, there will be a couple accents at a certain point of this film.
Okay, they're not supposed to be good accents, though.
Oh, and we forgot to mention, but of course, we do have Jessa Flux attached to be in the film. She's playing one of the people that Holly kidnaps to play one of her siblings. And Jessa was very excited about this. We're paying Jessa her rate, to be clear. She's not doing charity, but she practically begged to be in this movie after she read the script. So we're very excited to get her back on, and she's going to do a fantastic job. Again, if you listeners at home have watched Shingles the movie, if you haven't, you should. But Jessa was one of the funniest people in that movie. She's hilarious to have on set. We gave her a bit part in Carousel 3 just because we liked working with her. We knew that role was kind of under her, and we explained it to her, but she was like, nah, it's cool. And it was just, a joy to have her on set. So this time she's back to having a real substantial role where she plays a character the whole time.
No, I'm glad to hear that, because from all the things I had heard on the Shingles set, it sounded like you guys got along really well.
Mm-hmm. It was the first time we worked with her too, but she was a pro, and again, just I would be crying laughing at her deliveries, but her and Blake, but Jessa nailed the character of Zip Zip beyond belief.
Oh, sorry. She actually just referred to us recently as her Pittsburgh family in one of her posts about the movie. So she feels like whenever she comes to Pittsburgh to shoot, we're mom and pop. Like, not in a weird way, but like that's we're the family.
I'm her daddy.
For her here. I love it. Yeah, you're daddy. I'm like Zaddy. But like, it's really cool to know that she feels so comfortable here when she's visiting from out of town to shoot with us.
Well, that
And
answers
I
the other
hope
question,
that
like where you guys
speaks
located,
volumes.
so you could actually get snow. Because I'm just south of you in Maryland, and we get nothing. So
But we got no snow last year. That's why I was saying, like, I hope we get something. And this year we actually had snow on the ground twice.
right,
And
Yeah,
the first
twice.
time is when we got the shot, because like I wasn't going to roll the dice on a better snow day. And we did get a better snow day, but it's fine. We got what we needed. We might have had to drive up to Erie or New York, like if we didn't get snow in our area. Like we were outright planning, like we might have to do a 4 to 6 hour car drive in January if we don't get snow. But fortunately we did, so it was just in my backyard.
That's cool.
All right, so the hope here is that some new eyeballs are going to be like watching this like episode or so. So in terms of your other movies, if somebody is brand new to the Rudzinski universe or the Rudzinski verse, where should they start?
I mean, I always go with, the Carousel trilogy, or at least Carousel 1. I think it's a great way to get a good flavor of what we do. It's fun, it's funny, and then if you like Carousel 1, you get like part 2 and 3 immediately. You can get the whole story. You get a whole arc for these characters, for this world, all this lore and world building, and you can see the insanity that I have when I write schlocky, micro-budget horror comedy movies, to the point where many fans told me that they were crying in Carousel 3 while watching it, which you wouldn't expect from a movie series about a sentient killer carousel unicorn. But that's what you get with Steve Rudzinski. After the Carousels, I would say it's either if you like anthologies and you do want to sit down for a couple of hours, I do suggest Shingles the movie. I think we did a really good job with it. I'm proud of that movie. I think it's a real fun time. And if you want something a little shorter, if you want to see more of my love for Christmas, then I do say Amityville Christmas Vacation, even though it's like a 2-day, $300 movie that I shot as a joke, and yet it has gotten me more press than anything in my fucking life.
Well, I am obviously a biased audience, but like, so after the initial thing of Shingles came out, like actually recently when I sat down to watch Carousel 3, I finished that, and like I think they were both on, like, I forget, Tubi, probably Tubi or so.
Mhm.
Shingles was right next to it, and I was like, I haven't watched this in a bit. Let me sit do that. And personally, I think it ages pretty well.
Mhm.
Like I was like, some of the jokes I was still laughing at, even though, like, we wrote the goddamn jokes.
Yeah. I laugh at my own jokes, so don't take any like shame to that. Bevan, what's your favorite movie that I have made?
Tell me about me, Bevan.
All right. I have seen Carousel 1 and Shingles.
So of those two,
Shingles.
which one do you like more that you didn't write?
Carousel 1.
Okay, there you go. So there's Bevan saying clearly.
I mean, you should put that like endorsement on the DVDs right there.
But yeah, like, I mean, I'm glad though I made Shingles with you guys. I thought that was a great experience, and I'm super, super glad that it keeps getting discovered. I might be on a special guest on my podcast this Saturday, because they were just posting about like, oh, we're doing like a big Goosebumps thing, and I just posted the trailer for Shingles. They were like, can you come on the show and talk about this? So I'm still pushing it too. I want you guys to know that I haven't stopped. Like, obviously, I also was pushing Carousel 3, but I'm a multi-purpose whore.
Well, I've told this story before, but I mean, really, it comes down to, like, we sat down and did Carousel as an ATM, one of our at the movies things, and I'll be honest, we were planning to really just rip it apart. We thought, and it was so friggin' good. That's why we reached out to you, and we're like,
we sat there and watched it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was probably our most boring ATM because we weren't talking.
I'm glad. It's so surreal and cool. And I know you guys can connect to this as creators yourselves, but like years later, seeing new people still discover these things and like loving them. And like, especially now that I have a trilogy, like there's been like, I've been sharing with Aline every time it happens, but like there'll be someone that just discovers Carousel 1 on a whim. And then within the next week, they already have reviews for 2 and 3 on Letterboxd. And, you know, like some of them like 1 and 3, but not 2, or 1 and 2, not 3, or 2 and 3, but not 1 as much, or like they love them all. Like but it's so wonderful to just see these random people that just like, what's this? And they're like, okay, let's keep going.
The other thing is, I mean, we had you on. You were a great guest, and the thing I absolutely loved the most was when like Steve sent you the first draft of Shingles the movie. I kind of expected when you were like, "Hey, let's talk about it." When we brought John, it was just going to be like, "Yeah," it was just like a conversation. You came back with an entire fucking business plan, like you treated it seriously. And I'll be honest, I 100% kind of expected it, like us to just be blown off along the lines of, yeah, this is cute and stuff. But just that alone was just so friggin' cool. Like I don't know if Bob remembers that, but we got off the call with that, and I was just like, holy shit! Like
that was more thought than anyone has ever put into a Shingles project.
That was more thought than any of us has ever put into a Shingles project. Yeah, and Bob's written more than half the series.
I can attest to that only because like I joined Authors and Dragon this year. I was a guest before. I was like on a podcast like a year and a half ago, whatever. Like one of their fans liked my books and said, "Hey, get this guy on." And I, I just did an interview, side quest, blah, blah, blah. Rick was nice enough to stay on with me for another 30, 40 minutes after just to shoot the shit a little bit. And it was very nice. And he told me about this thing. He's like, "So we do these at the movies. You should join us one time." So we did this thing. It was like, "We're getting a movie made." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Okay, have you read some of our Shingles books?" I'm like, "Yeah, I read the first couple." He's like, "So this guy, Rudzinski, Carousel." But he was like a little kid, like so excited, and like the hype level. So when I came to the first con in 2023, that was my first time, and I met you guys there. Like I was still divorced from all that because I hadn't been in this ecosystem yet. But Steve was fucking giddy. And like he tells you now, it's he's actually way chill now versus the time he told me before. It's like but it's such a love of you can clearly see the love that like they have working with you, and it shows through into the work. And like I know the fans reacted, so I think that's just very cool that this dynamic still exists. I've never written a Shingles, and I feel like I'm got fucked out of this somehow, but it doesn't matter. So.
Well, I'm happy to be like part of this family. Again, like thanks for reaching out to me to begin with, and of course I took it seriously. This is what I do, and you guys came to me with basically your baby, so I'm gonna give it as much attention as I would give one of my own projects. That's the point. That's what you paid me for. But also I'm passionate and care, and hopefully Shingles makes a profit. Let's do Shingles 2 down the road. I'm game. Just let me know, and that's not an obligation. I know what selling an independent movie's like. But you guys had a pretty good streaming first few months, I'll say that. No details for the fans, but it was very impressive.
Yeah, we're such fucking morons. I know. You were like, "Hey, stupid! You might want to actually withdraw the money that they owe you." Oh yeah.
Yeah, I let Rick know, and then months later, I reached out to Steve and said, "Hey, so I let Rick know." But I was just looking because I like to compare the numbers. I like to see like where it's at, like what months are doing better, what months are doing worse. I do it with my own movies too. I asked permission if I could do it with Shingles, and I got the okay. But I saw that the money was still just fucking sitting there.
Something. We're the entirety of Authors and Dragons. We're kind of like an orange cat. We pass around, and you never know who's going to have that one part of the brain at any given time.
Yeah. To be clear, it's not making the guys rich or anything. Like, I saw the number. It ain't making anybody rich, but it was a decent enough chunk of change from streaming that it was just like, hey, you guys may as well pocket something from this fucking movie.
People have been watching it. It has a good rating on IMDb. Mm-hmm. It's
only Carousel 3 has a higher rating than Shingles of my films. At least of the ones that have a good amount of ratings. I'm not counting the ones that have 15 ratings because those aren't fair. But yeah, I mean, some people really like it. And then again, it's that thing where you get the casuals or the normies, for the lack of a better term, that don't expect that sense of humor, and clearly they don't jive with it. I love seeing everyone's different, the Letterboxd reviews, how almost every review has a different story that they just fucking hate. And it always cracks me up. And that's what an anthology is. That's what's always going to happen. But I always just get cracked up about that. So many people seem to really dislike Aliens Wrecked Archegger, and that's my favorite, the guy who made the fucking movie. So, I mean, but we already talked about that, Rick. I have terrible taste in films, so maybe I don't know what good is.
One day we have to we have to sit down and just like do a podcast where we just go through movies that like one of us loves and the other hates, and just like just spend an hour or two talking about that shit.
I'd be game for that, Rick. Let me know.
Yeah.
We can make a special bonus episode for this that you upload on like a day usually don't upload. It can just be me and you, or you and a couple of the other guys.
We do special. We do these recordings called Mimic Chess that are just for our Discord.
Mhm.
That would probably be a perfect one.
Perfect.
You know?
Can we make it like a debate club structure for real, where you each have to have like counterpoints against each other?
That's too official, in my
You
opinion.
know that sounds like a lean volunteering to be the moderator.
Okay, yeah.
You think
Yeah,
I'm
that's
quiet
exactly
now?
what it sounds like.
Bob has seen he has seen Carousel, Shingles, and Bram Stoker's Dracula, and those are the only 3 movies he's ever seen.
That is patently untrue.
All right. Well, I mean, speaking of movies, I mentioned this, Steve, earlier as a potential idea, but it makes sense here now that we're talking about it. And to further support the whole Curtains for Christmas concept, support it on Kickstarter today, please, for the love of God. You don't get charged until the campaign ends, so don't wait till you're getting paid. There's no reason to. What is everyone's favorite Christmas movie? Let's start with you, Gibby.
I always have the joke answer of Die Hard because I still love that because it's set at Christmas like that. But
I mean, Die Hard
this
is
was-
a Christmas movie. Like, I
It
always
is a
defend
Christmas
that to
movie.
the end of
is a
my
Christmas
days.
movie,
But most people
so-
that say it's their favorite are just being contrarian.
So last year, this is there was a new reason this is my new number one. My son, who's 12 now, but last year was 11, because he's gonna have December birthday. I took him to see his first R-rated movie. We went and saw Violent Night together, and I had some friends check it out earlier. So he's aware of nudity and sex like that, but just violence, hyper violence and language. He's 11-year-old. He plays video games. He's perfectly okay with this. And he sat there like white knuckling it. And the thing is like, am I allowed to be in here? Am I allowed? I'm like, dude, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. Don't worry. You're here with an adult. He's like, okay, but seriously, hunker down. I want the cops to get us. And he said, what? I'm gonna just fuck with you. And so he sat there and like just all watching Santa Claus go like Viking ham on these motherfuckers in a clearly homage to Die Hard that this movie is. So because of the bond between my son, Violent Night, I can't. We watch it every Christmas now as a habit. So
I mean, it's a new film, but I think that's a great choice because it's a good movie. And what makes that movie work, in my opinion, I'm going to comment on all of your answers, by the way, because as the Christmas wizard here, the king of Christmas, what makes Violent Night work so effectively is that it takes Christmas seriously. It's that sort of thing that I do with Amityville, where like, yeah, it's this silly, over-the-top, hyper-violent action movie, but it's also a Christmas movie. It's about the themes of Christmas. It's about the essence of what Christmas is and the purpose of it. And that's what makes that film so powerful. I love Violent Night. It is definitely also one of my favorites very quickly. Like, I walked out of that theater saying, like, it's like they made that for me. That's
what it felt
wonderful.
like. Because I said that the Die Hard references when the little girl gets to be Al Pal on the walkie-talkie and talking through all these things, and when he's at his low point, she's there to like believe in him, and he just and yes, the hyper violence is wonderful. So and Harbour did a great job. So yeah, I love that flick.
Yeah, I think that's probably David Harbour's best acting performance.
Agreed.
Yeah, Rick, I'm just going in order of what's on my screen.
Yeah. All right, so it's not really a movie. My favorite Christmas special has got to be the original cartoon of Grinch That Stole Christmas.
Okay.
Because it's a Chuck Jones cartoon, and it like much like the Bugs Bunny cartoons at the time, there's so many kind of like little like, almost like inside jokes as part of it. That even though it's a kid's cartoon, there's like a lot that appeals to an adult. Movie-wise, Violent Night is really good, but just from a schlocky standpoint, just because I just find it to be the most hilarious fucking thing, Silent Night, Deadly Night always cracks me the fuck up.
For no reason. Like, there was an explicit reason, but I had never seen that movie until last year. I don't know why. I love Christmas. I love horror. I just had never seen Silent Night, Deadly Night. So I bought all 5 on Blu-ray. and we had a marathon. Have you seen any of the sequels?
I saw one of the sequels.
Okay.
I haven't seen the rest. I didn't
Part
know there was 5.
is fantastic. Like,
Okay.
I will watch 1 and 5 every year.
Yeah.
I love Garbage Day and 2. I love Garbage Day and 2, but if you guys at home have not seen Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, 70% of that movie is Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 1. Because it's the little brother just telling the story of the movie, and there's like so little new stuff. It drives me crazy. I love the new stuff, but there's not enough of it.
God, and like just the first scene of that first movie where he goes and visits his grandpa in the asylum, and like the grandpa just like Santa Claus punishes people. I remember the first time I saw that, I almost like couldn't breathe laughing. It was just so over the top hilarious.
I
So,
mean,
yeah,
when we
did
first
that.
watched it, again, like my first time seeing it was last year, I was saying to Aline almost the whole time, like, I'm actually impressed at how good this is. Like, this is a legitimately really good slasher horror movie. You know, it's got the evil nun trope. It's got, like, such a great, like it has a trigger that's based on, like, trauma that makes sense. I love Silent Night, Deadly Night 1, and I would suggest you to watch
also
5.
great. It's also great because it's so over the top of like, of they're taking this guy who obviously hates Christmas and just putting him into the worst scenarios possible.
Yes, he's consistently getting stuck with Christmas shit. One fun thing about Part 2, I will give this compliment. So there's a scene, again, this is for the folks at home, not you, Rick. You've seen the fucking movie.
Yeah.
There's a scene where a man is attempting rape on a woman, and the killer actually saves her. And she has a very negative reaction to this that confused me while watching the film. Like, he kills the rapist violently, don't get me wrong, but she, like, is treating him worse than the man that was about to do a horrible crime to her. In the sequel, the same thing happens, except the woman is extremely thankful, and it was, like, so refreshing. It was like, hell yeah! Yeah, murder rapists! 5 out of 5, let's go!
Yeah. There's what's the movie? Ichi the Killer.
Mhm.
Where it's a similar scene like that, where like the main hero / bad guy saves a woman, and she just like for some reason just treats him like shit, and it's just like, huh?
All right, Bob.
Bad Santa.
Bad Santa, okay.
Not even a contest.
That is a film that I definitely, like, I mean, I was a kid when that came out, so I saw that, like, immediately, because, of course, it was edgelord Christmas humor. It was exactly right for the age period that I was. But Billy Bob gives a heartfelt performance to that film.
Yeah.
Like, especially, like, when he is crawling to the door at the end, full of bullets to deliver that toy, like, it is heart-wrenching. Like, it is insane. Like, that movie is very much a edgelord, potty humor comedy film. And that's
Well, this
fine.
is
That's
what
not
I was
like a
thinking.
negative.
I was thinking about that the whole time you were describing Curtains for Christmas as like a mix of a Christmas movie and a horror, and
Mhm.
that scene in particular, like it really blends those two very well.
It does. And again, like that's what makes a good Christmas movie, especially when you're combining different genres, is taking the Christmas part seriously. And again, I'm probably taking that more seriously as a Christmas guy myself, caring so deeply about the season, but like Bad Santa would not work if Billy Bob wasn't risking his life to deliver a toy to a kid because the kid deserves it. That's what makes that whole thing come together. Otherwise, it would just be like, oh yeah, fucking Santa saying fuck. But like that ending is just
I could live with that though.
oh. I mean, yeah. I wouldn't say it's bad, but like I don't think it would be a classic. That's
Actually, you know what?
Kind of begging women in the dressing
I
room.
take that back. I don't think I could live with it because I saw Bad Santa 2 and it was fucking shit.
I never saw the sequel, so I'm glad I haven't.
You don't have to.
Okay, good.
It didn't happen.
So
Didn't happen.
you guys, what are
Okay,
your choices?
Elaine.
The difference was the heart.
Oh God. I've been stewing back and forth during this entire conversation because the longest running favorite of mine was Christmas Vacation, like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. My family grew up watching that together. My dad, that's his favorite movie. It's my sister's favorite movie to quote. And Steve and I have a tradition where every year when we decorate our live Christmas tree, we always decorate it to that movie. So it has a lot of really good memories for me. But on the other hand, I'm obsessed with Jingle All the Way and could probably do that whole movie too. So I can't pick. So it's those together.
Before I forget, Rick, did you realize that the original cartoon of The Grinch has a prequel? It's a Halloween special.
No, I did not know that.
Just found that out
It's a
a few
grand
months
night
ago.
for eyebrows. It's a good night for teeth.
Yeah, it's like Halloween is Grinch Night, and it's a prequel to The Grinch. Like it's you should watch it if you're a fan of that original show. It's on YouTube for free.
I'll Google that.
I'm gonna need to see that too now.
It's a stupid complaint. Like I think I was high or drunk when we watched it, but I was like screaming at the screen at the end because like Max stands up for himself and like fights back against the Grinch, but it's a prequel, so I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Max is working for him again in a couple months at Christmas time. What the fuck? But like other than that, the special was a joy. Like I loved it.
Steve, that's a classic abusive relationship.
Yes, it's exactly what it was.
Just gaslights Max, yeah.
But yeah, never knew it existed until this past October, and like it very impressed me. Like it was very impressive. So I meant to say that to you before I moved on to Bob, but I'm glad I got it out. Okay, my answer is 3, because there are 3 different aspects of Christmas, and that's why I have 3 different favorites. The aspect of family and working together and dealing with family at the holidays, because that's what matters. Christmas Vacation, which is my favorite movie, period. If you ask me what my favorite movie is, it is Christmas Vacation. I think it is a perfect film. I think it does everything so well. It is a comedy that makes me laugh no matter how many times I've seen it. It is so full of heart. Everything is shot beautifully. Everything is performed beautifully. It's an amazing film, and it is about the family aspect of Christmas, and that's why I love that so much. 2, Jingle All the Way for the commercialism aspect of Christmas. And the whole idea of people thinking that they can undo being a bad person, or in this case, a bad parent, by getting someone a gift, something physical, which is the antithesis of what Christmas actually means, where it's about actually caring and love and support. But Arnold Schwarzenegger is so focused on, if I get this toy, everything's fine, as well as the battle with that. And I love that a lot. I love Jingle All the Way. And I respect the hell out of the fact that it's a very serious, grounded movie. And then in the final act, they just say, fuck it, superpowers are real.
Yeah.
How does that get greenlit? I love that it did. But the third place, not third place, but my third number 1, and it is about the magic of Christmas. This is about the magic of Santa. It is about the concept of giving, the concept of caring about other people, and that is Ernest Saves Christmas. I love Ernest Saves Christmas. I think it is a joy. I think it is that live action cartoon that I love so much that I've taken a lot of my style from as a director. It has Ernest being like just such a genuine good person. It has that concept of believing in other people and trusting other people because it rewards you more than you think. And it has my favorite live action Santa Claus in a movie. I love Santa Claus and Ernest Saves Christmas, and I've been crying for years for a physical Blu-ray release of Ernest Saves Christmas, but Disney keeps that shit locked in a goddamn vault. All we have is a shitty DVD from the 90s that they keep reprinting. And I know they have an HD scan because it's on Prime Video for $3.99 and it's on Disney Plus. I want to own that physically. Please, I pray that some boutique label like picks up a few Touchstone picture films, and Ernest Saves Christmas is one of those, because I want to own that because it's so important to me. It is so important to me, and I keep on expecting that I will be let down for the rest of my life.
By the way, I found that Grinch prequel, so I'm sending myself an email to watch it tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, I need to find that now too. I think my
literally just go to YouTube and type in Grinch prequel.
That's exactly my plan.
Yeah.
No, I think my backup. Well, it's not even. Here's the thing. It's not even a Christmas movie, but it's one of the, again. It's like it just means something. What's that? It's the animated Rise of the Guardians. That depiction of Santa Claus, that animated flick gets me every single time because it obviously takes place in the winter. It takes place at winter time, and the Jack Frost character, and we find out the history in the past. But I love that depiction of Santa as like this big, jelly, naughty, nice tattoo forearm guys, but still has the eyes of a child. And that no matter how worldly he is, no matter how much damage there is, he still wants to see things as a child with wonderment and belief. And I love that depiction.
Santa Claus is my favorite fictional character. There's no kids listening to this, right? But no, it's like
If they
Santa
are,
Claus
fuck
is
'em.
one.
Thanks a
Santa
lot,
Claus
Steve.
is- Santa is real in our hearts. But no, Santa is like my favorite character. Like everything that he personifies, everything that he stands for, and everything that he does. So like I'm very critical of Santa interpretations in movies. Like I fucking hate Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer because that Santa's a piece of shit, and that is not what Santa is at all. That special has nothing to, is the against everything Christmas is. I will drunkenly yell about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer for hours if he let me.
I feel the same way about the Santa from the just the elf who wants to be a dentist. It's same Santa.
I don't want to make toys. I don't want to play with teeth.
He just wants to be a dentist. He wants to be a good dentist.
It's cool. Like almost like universally, the movie Elf is beloved, and I can't stand that fucking movie.
I'm not a fan of Elf. I don't hate it, but
think
it
Elf's
is just
all right.
like it's the first one that I rewatched it this past year because Aline loves it. But like I hadn't watched it for years because I just had no drive to. And then when I watched it with Aline, I was just like, yeah, this is fine. I think it was just too much time where Buddy's dad doesn't believe Buddy is his son. And I feel like there's a lot of wasted time at that point. If it wasn't for that, I think I like the movie a lot more. But that isn't the movie. But then other people like that. So like I'm not saying I'm right or that's what makes the movie bad, but that's why I don't connect with it as much as say like Aline, again, because she loves that and we finally own it.
Elf is the best Christmas musical that exists as far as like stage plays. If I have to watch one more production of White Christmas, I'm going to gouge my eyes out. Like theaters only have 4 Easter shows they do, and they only have about 4 or 5 Christmas shows, and they all do the same shows. And of all the Christmas musicals I've seen, Elf by far has the best musical numbers and the most succinct version of the plot of that movie. It helps with cutting away some of that time that Steve says is wasted in the movie, and it's really great, and I want to do it again.
All right, so we're just past the hour mark here, so probably about time to wrap up. So this is the time to really hammer that shit home. Tell us, where should people go? Where should they spend their money? As if they're hearing it for the first time,
Okay.
because exactly.
General sale of our stuff. SilverSpotlightFilms.com. That is our web store. That is our website. That is where you can buy everything that I've made on DVD or Blu-ray, except for Shingles. That's over on ShinglesTheMovie.com. But we got all of my films on there, all of my features, my shorts on there. That's where you can get everything. That's the best way to support me. We have our deck building games on there, including Shingles the Movie, the game, and Carousel, the deck building game with the Meowie expansion. That is the best way to support us because that is the money coming directly to us. There is no middleman aside from like PayPal fees or something. So that is I ship the movies myself most of the time, not always. Sometimes I ship directly from the manufacturer, but the money's coming right to us. And that way you own the film forever. You can do whatever you want with that disc. I don't care. Don't upload to torrent. But do whatever you want with that movie. And we get a lot of bonus features. We got a lot of options, a lot of great box art. I take that very seriously. If you don't want to spend 20, 50, hundreds of dollars on all the movies there, second best way to support us, stevebuster.com. That is my Patreon. For as low as $2.99 a month, you get access to my entire modern film library. And that includes a couple of shorts that we made exclusively for Steve Buster. But then at the $4.99 mark, you get a bunch of my old stuff that I don't make or sell on physical media anymore because I hate the movies and it's super embarrassing, but my fans wanted them because they hate me, so they're on the service, including me drunkenly watching them while talking about how bad they are. But also, like, every bonus feature that I've ever made for physical media is on the $4.99 tier. All of my old stuff is on the $4.99 tier. Other exclusive stuff is on the $4.99 tier that isn't available anywhere else. Like Bill Murphy and I did a 2-hour-long retrospective discussion about the Meowie movies, which is super interesting. And we get into like how we wrote them and all the references and stuff. And that's just on Steve Buster. And of course, you get access to my Discord at the $4.99 tier. And you can unsubscribe after a month and stay in the Discord. I don't care. And similarly, you can subscribe for a month and just bookmark all of the movie links. You can keep all of the links from Steve Buster forever, even if you unsubscribe. I don't mind. I support that All I ask is to not share it. So for $5, you support us directly and get, like, I think the $2.99 tier is like 25 hours of content, and the $5 tier is something like 40 hours of content total. So that's the second best way to support us. And of course, if you don't want to spend any money because the economy is rough, I get it. You know, it's 2024. I've looked outside. All of my library, all of my features, I should say, all of my features are on Tubi TV. So if you go to Tubi, if you don't know what Tubi is, it is my favorite streaming app, and I'm not just saying that because they pay me. It is legitimately my favorite one as a consumer because it has the biggest library, it has the weirdest stuff, and it's free. Tubi is 100% free. It is so free and good that in the advertising for Tubi, it actually says this is legal because so many people think it isn't. It is ads based. Please don't use an ad blocker, you piece of shit. Let me get my 5 cents for my hundreds of hours of work to entertain you. But my entire library of features is on there. So if you just want to try me out, if you just want to rent something, Tubi is the other best way to check us out legally, where we at least get something from it. And of course, again, Curtains for Christmas. Search for it on Kickstarter. Look at our Facebook or look at the Twitter page or whatever. You know, we posted the links everywhere. But if you search for Curtains for Christmas on Kickstarter, you will find it.
We'll be sharing the link along with this podcast. But I mean, you can easily find it by just googling Curtains for Christmas Kickstarter.
Yeah, like we have a lot of great rewards. If you don't want to spend too much money, you can just pre-order a DVD or a Blu-ray. It does help us. It does go really far, and you will be having a direct hand in helping us make this film that Alina and I are very excited to hopefully make, and we feel very, very strongly about. We think it's a great script. We think it's a really fun script. We think that there's so many great scenes of comedy, so many great scenes of gore, and so many great Christmas moments too. You know, like, again, that's very important to me. So, you know, I'm going to do that the best that I can. And I really hope that we get to make the movie, but we definitely need the fans to support us. We please do not wait. If you're interested, if this at all sounds something like you're interested in, please consider supporting the Kickstarter so we can get to that 14,000 by the end of the month. And if you don't know me well, like if you're a new listener to this, or if you only know me through Shingles the Movie, all of my Kickstarters that have succeeded have delivered within a year. Like, you are not signing up for like some scam filmmaker or some jerk that, you know, you'll get the movie several years from now. You know, I've seen a lot of people on Facebook talk about this where they are just so blown away that like they supported my Kickstarter and got my movie so soon before Kickstarters that they've supported years ago. You're not going to be waiting. We're filming it this summer. It will be out this winter, late autumn. Like, that is the plan, and I'm good at my plans. So don't worry about if it's something that you might not get. If we succeed, you're getting the movie. I 100% guarantee it. So please, please, for the love of God.
Guys, your
Aline.
money is paying for everything in the movie. We're not taking a paycheck on this. We don't get paid. Nothing goes to us. It's locations, actors, special effects, editing, music. That's it. So, like, we're not going to be sitting on your money. It's going to a good cause. If you want to find me on the internet, I'm pretty easy to find. My Instagram is at Aline Isley. I also run the Karis Hell Twitter. So Steve is his own name on Twitter, but if you want to talk to me on Twitter, you can go at Karis Hell Film. And that's about it for me, really. You can find me around.
Don't say that. You've been in a ton of stuff.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I have movies. I'm in several of Steve's. I have another film called Headcase that just came out this year. It's on Amazon Prime, I think. That is not with Steve. So I'm around. I'm currently performing in the Pittsburgh area and stage musicals throughout the year, too. So maybe you'll see me.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks
If
for
you're
having
watching this
us.
podcast, I mean, I got to say, I'm excited for this movie. So please go support it. You know, I for one would love to see it get made because it sounds like it's gonna be pretty fucking awesome. All right.
That's the hope.
Yep. So I guess
If you like Carousel 3 in terms of how it looks, Curtains for Christmas is going to look just as good. You know, I just know a lot of people say the Carousel 3 is my best looking film, and we plan on at least matching that, if not surpassing it, for Curtains for Christmas. Although there will be that trope here, I forgot to say this. I definitely want to play into the whole trope of how many of these goddamn Christmas rom-coms buy the same drone footage of winter locales that they are clearly not shooting at. So there'll be a lot of that in Curtains for Christmas.
Nice. The best stock footage money can buy.
I bought a couple clips for Amityville Christmas Vacation, and then I watched a couple Christmas rom-coms on Tubi after that. I'm just like, hey, I bought that shot.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you guys for joining us. For those of you at home, thanks for listening. Definitely go support Curtains for Christmas, and we will be back next week with I guess, well, some kind of game. I'm not sure if we're doing the final of Salty Bastards after this, or we're doing something else.
I explained to
be back.
Rick why Batman v Superman is the best comic book movie. That's next week.
What was that? You're breaking up, Steve.
It's in the top 20.
All right.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah, I wouldn't die on the hill if someone doesn't agree with me that it's the best. I just get thrown off when people like say it's like the worst. I'm like, have you fucking seen Steel and Catwoman? Like, come on,
yeah.
It's not that bad. If you hate it,
I'll give you that. I will concede.
We'll argue offline.
All right, guys. We'll be back next week. Until then, bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Authors and Dragons is brought to you under a Creative Commons license, meaning you are free to share this material so long as credit is given to those who created it, which is us, the people you just heard play the game. Opening and closing themes performed by the Gore Core 4.
Authors and Dragons! Authors and Dragons!